Hi, and welcome to this week's solo episode of the Guest List podcast. I am your host, Steve Guest. If you're watching this via YouTube, you'll notice I've still got my jacket on. We've entered November. Climate's definitely dropped, temperatures dropped. Everything's a little bit darker, a little bit colder. Certainly in the UK, it's a little bit wetter as well. The rain doesn't seem to have stopped. But we're starting or entering a part of the year that I genuinely get excited about and motivated for. And we've talked about this in podcasts before. Um, it's about assessing and turning your kind of thought process into what goals, what are you looking to achieve, what are you aiming for next year. And my brain suddenly shifts when it gets to November, December, and I start thinking about where I can make improvements, what I can do to excel and improve where I am in all aspects of life and business. And I thought I would share a podcast today and talk through what I do and how it works. And it was prompted really. I was sat browsing and kind of flicking through social media this week, and I saw an old Tony Robbins video where he talks about massive action and taking massive action. And if I think back years and years, reading his book "Awaken the Giant Within," and he talks about taking massive action. And I talk to recruiters, accountability mentors about taking massive action. And we all think differently about it. And I think we all have different values and different perceptions of what it might look like, what it takes to actually improve our situation, whatever it might be, whether it's about losing weight, improving our results at work, improving the relationships around us, and everything in between. We all have different motivators, we all have different goals. And some of us know exactly what we want and we're very specific about it. And some of us just really don't know. And that's, for me, I think what differentiates the real high achievers than the other than the perhaps the average or the people that just do what they need to do. And it's because they don't ask the first and most important question, which is, what do I really want? What do I want the outcome of everything that I do to achieve? What is that measurable result that I'm trying to get to? The more precise you answer this question, actually, the easier and more specific it can be to get you to achieving those goals. So it might be that you want to lose weight. Saying I want to lose weight is okay, but it's not going to be specific enough for you to achieve it. Saying I want to lose a stone or 2 stone or 15 pounds, whatever it might be, is specific and it's measurable. Saying I want to be a top biller or a top performing consultant is definitely achievable, but it's not specific. Saying I want to achieve, I don't know, a 20K month or bill 200K in a year or £1 million billing consultant, whatever it might be, whatever your goals are, the more specific it is, the more defined it is, the more measurable it is, actually, the easier it is to be able to put a plan in place to achieve it. So you've got to start thinking about, what is it that I really want? What's the outcome? What do I want to achieve? And be really precise with it. The next part of it, which is really important, I think quite a lot of the time, this is where people fall down, or certainly the experiences I have. You've got to think about, what is your purpose? What's my purpose behind what I'm looking to achieve? What are my reasons for wanting to achieve it in the first place? And what's the emotional quality of the purpose itself? What's the trigger? What gets you excited to be able to achieve that goal or that target? And do you approach it with high levels of energy? Quite often we say certain things and we want to achieve certain things, but actually it lacks that emotional charge behind it that gets us going, gets us motivated, gets us really kind of energized to go and achieve it. And I think you have to attach the emotion to it. One of the exercises that I talk about as part of the recruitment mastery program is, again, it derives from Tony Robbins, and it's associating a positive energy to the goal that you're looking to achieve. So what's the positive emotional outcomes of achieving that goal? And once you've gone through that process of listing everything that is positive, what do you gain from achieving that goal? You then go through all the negatives. So the negatives of not achieving that goal, what will happen in a negative way that is the kind of the end result of you not achieving it. And by doing that, you're linking emotion to the overall goal and target in itself. And actually it starts to become far more powerful. And when you start to self-doubt or you think you're not going to achieve it, those emotional charges come back in place and actually give you a kick up the backside, so to speak, to then crack on and achieve what you need to achieve. The third part of it is understanding what you need to do to achieve that goal. So what is the massive action plan? This very much starts with, I suppose you'd call it a brainstorm or thunder shower. I'm not sure what the correct term is these days, but it's about collating a bunch of ideas. And this is pretty much everything you can think about surrounding your goal, listing all of them. And there's no daft kind of idea here. It's about listing everything that you connect with it, what's important to you, what are the effects, what are the negative effects if you don't achieve them. List all possibilities, because as you go down the process, you'll start to prioritize the areas that you need to do to achieve it in far more detail, and you can attach certain values to those ideas. The biggest thing around all of this is we all have these thoughts, we all have these motivators, what we want to do. We talk about it with our colleagues, our peers, our friends, but actually the majority of us keep it in our head. The problem with that is it creates more stress and it creates overwhelm. And actually we don't go on to achieve it because our thoughts get muddled on any day, week or month. And we'll forget certain things will slip off the list, things will get added and replaced. I think the numbers are generally people struggle to deal with between 5 and 9, or 5. They can handle 5 to 9 tasks per day, but anything over and above that, it becomes a little bit overwhelming. So start to write everything down, the things in your head, start to collate them. Tony Robbins talks about chunking, and the idea behind that is you're grouping the ideas, the things you need to achieve into certain areas, and that can span all sorts of things really that fit with you. So it could be financial, it could be business, it could be health, it could be relationships and family, and all the bits in between. But it's about making sure that you do elements of the tasks that you need to achieve and get them in a measurable, timed manner so that you can go and attack them. The more specific you can be with everything that we kind of talk about here, the easier it is to attach a program or a plan and then to be able to take that massive action. It's got to have emotion behind the purpose. It's got to really motivate you. I've had conversations with consultants that know what they want to achieve, but they struggle to find the motivation to attach to it because it doesn't emotionally charge them when they think about it. It's got to excite you. It's got to genuinely move you to take action. If it doesn't, then they're not the right action plans. It's not the right thing to be aiming for. There's got to be something bigger and better. You've got to have that massive action plan. You've got to know what the result is you're trying to achieve and the purpose behind it. So what or how will that make you feel if you achieve it or if you don't achieve it? Even if you start to work through what do I really want, and you write these goals down, and then you understand the purpose behind doing it, actually achieving just those two will put you ahead of 90% of the people that actually never even get that far. Goals must move you, they must motivate you, they must get you in the darkest days and keep you pushing forward. The key to all of this, I believe, is to be consistent and to keep going, even when the days get darker and colder and wetter, as we spoke about at the start of the podcast. Those are the days that make the real difference, because if you stop on the days you don't want to do it, you stop on the cold, dark days where you don't want to get up and you're not motivated, actually your goals take a step back. And I'm a firm believer that just taking a little chink, having another little go, adding something to what you've got to achieve on any given day, week, or month actually just gets you a step closer to the goal, even when your motivations perhaps are at a low ebb. This is done through a variety of things that we have discussed. Set and visualize specific time-based goals, write them down. I like to, first of all, kind of put the goals and what I'm looking to achieve in a 12-month time scale, and then they're broken down into a month time scale, a week time scale, and then a daily and priority to-do list. Because actually the ability to achieve things in a day and those small little steps towards your overall 12-month, 3-year, 5-year, 10-year goal is actually far easier to manage and handle, and remove some of that overwhelm. It's important to track and measure what you're doing as you go. And you can adjust as you move along. Sometimes you'll have days where you far exceed your expectations and you go past what you set out to achieve. And you'll have other days where life takes over and you don't perhaps achieve everything you set out to do. But over a period of time, as long as you have more motivated days than perhaps negative days, you will be getting closer towards your goals. And that's the key bit. I think sometimes we give ourselves such a hard time that on the days where we don't move forward, we almost see that as a failure and we give up and stop doing what we set out to do. And I think if you've got everything written down and you give yourself some slack sometimes, but you keep moving forward, actually you'll achieve far more in life. And I think that's what it's all about. The more motivated you are, the more engaged you are, the more energized you are. When you're headed towards a massive goal and you're taking massive action, actually the journey becomes far more enjoyable. You start to circle around people that are on a similar wavelength, a similar path. And the whole process becomes far more exciting because you have purpose. You're emotionally charged to go and achieve what you want to achieve. And it's exciting. And that's what brings me back to perhaps the start of this podcast when I talk about, I really genuinely get excited this time of year because I start to think about the massive goals, the things that I want to achieve in the next 12 months. And I start thinking about the lists that I create that are going to get me even closer to the goals that I set out. And I can start to put a plan in place to make sure that I'm 100% motivated to achieve those next year. And I can start breaking them down into their smaller compartments, start going through that chunking process and putting them into different parts of everyday life. And it is exciting. So I hope that's been useful. I hope you've taken something from that podcast and it's got you thinking about what you're looking to achieve. Just remember the 3 key points, and that is very much about what is it that you're looking to achieve? What do you really want from life? What do you want from the day job? What do you want to get in all areas of life? What's the outcome? What is that measurable result that you're looking to achieve? And be precise. Then start to think about what your purpose is. What are your reasons for putting those goals in place? What's the emotional quality of purpose behind that? What's the trigger? What's going to keep you motivated? And then you need to think about, what do I need to do? What's the massive action plan that's going to get you to that end goal? Start to think about all the ideas, what you need to do on a daily, weekly, monthly basis to achieve those goals, and then just go and do it. Let me know how you get on. Any questions, give me a shout back, drop me a message. I'm always interested to hear what you're planning to do. Be accountable if you need to. If you don't have someone that makes you or keeps you accountable, drop me a message with what you're going to achieve, and I can diarise a note in 12 months' time to see how you've got on. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I will speak to you soon.